Hey, welcome to the Guaranteed Audio podcast. I think, Guaranteed Audio, that's what it's called. My name is Neil.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Max.
If you've listened to the previous two episodes, you might notice something's different. Kevin has turned into Max. There's a simple explanation, and that is Kevin couldn't be here today.
Yep, Kevin's working on a production right now. He actually just came back from San Francisco and San Diego, working on his documentary about tangible media and video games, but he could not be here today. We've been pretty busy lately, and we thought we've just got to get something down. We've got to get something on that hard drive. So thank you all for joining us, and Max, we're happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
Now, if you've watched our videos, you know Max as the bully from a couple New Kids on the Rock episodes. What else have you played?
You shot me in the Tetris video.
Yeah.
A last-minute script edition. Based on my presence in your apartment at the time.
Yeah, you were there, so I was like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I also shot Max? Even though he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, you've been around.
I'm around.
Yeah, you're a familiar face.
Hopefully.
So, with that in mind, we're going to try and stick to topics Max can speak on.
Correct.
You may have noticed our next video is like a month late now. That's for the same reason that Kevin isn't here today, which is basically he's very busy working on his project and as a hired gun on some other projects right now. And that particular video happened to be one that he was in charge of editing. So he just hasn't been able to work on it for the last few weeks. And he actually just transferred it over to me. So I got to finish that pretty soon and do some music for it and get it all together. And then we'll get it up online and we can move on with our lives.
Yes, apologies everyone at home. We have been busy. Neil actually just moved to a new place. Mm-hmm. Kevin has moved to a new place. I'm still where I am. But my brother got married less than a month ago, and it was a whole production. And yeah.
Congrats to Sean.
Yes, my brother's name is Sean. Sean and Tori Murphy now.
For really old school fans, you'll remember Sean played the Wizard.
In No Place Like Home, that's right.
No Place Like Home back in 2007. I always thought he did a good job.
Oh, he did. He definitely did. He
never casted him again.
Went on a high note.
Well, he's married now. So
yeah, good for him. He's a family man.
I've just been waiting for that marriage in the last 10 years for him to land his next big role. But yeah, so we have been busy, but we're back, y'all. And we were thinking, how about we start with
current media, as we're still calling it. Let's start with Max. What have you been ingesting lately?
Well, I'm doing a media exchange of sorts with my girlfriend. I gave her a list of 52 films to watch, one every week that she hasn't seen, and she gave me 6 anime shows to watch over the course of a year.
That's equitable, yeah.
Yeah. And so I am watching Kill la Kill as per her suggestion.
I don't know that one yet. What's it about?
So it is it sort of has the energy of Super Jail, if you are familiar with that. Definitely am. Adult Swim program. But it is I don't want to say hypersexualized because it's sort of like exaggerated femininity. It's very high energy. It's this, I think, like city. It looks kind of like wherever the Box Trolls takes place.
Okay.
I've only seen the first few episodes, so I might be getting stuff wrong. But
sounds cool.
But there's like this school, and like the better you are at this school, the more of like this like super powered uniform you get that like makes you like a better and stronger fighter. And this exchange student comes in, and apparently the head of the student council may have killed her father somehow, and she's there to seek revenge, but she has to like fight like the other people in the school in the meantime. Like the head of the boxing club has like super like boxing gloves, and like the head of like the tennis team has like this super powered tennis racket and like this super powered suit that has tennis balls in it.
Are you watching it subtitled or dubbed?
Subbed.
All right, good,
Yeah,
good.
going right to the
And
source.
I have to ask, what was number one on the list that you gave your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Number one was Before Sunrise.
Oh, cool.
I've never
Linklater.
seen that. Yeah, I've never
Nice.
seen that either.
It's one of my favorite movies, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Ethan Hawke, known from The Purge. He's done more things than that. It's just fun to say that.
Yeah.
The Purge.
Purge is pretty good.
I still like I have a soft spot for The Purge. There
Not as
should be
good
a
as-
word for that.
Yeah.
When you have a soft spot for something you know is...
For the purge.
there should be a word specific for when you like The Purge.
Yes. My recent media includes something I watched with you, Max. I watched Saw last night.
Now, was it the first time you'd seen the first Saw?
Oh yeah, I
Seen
had
Saw.
zero interest when it was a current thing, but this was that movie's. I hear people say it's aged okay. I think I'm finally mature enough to watch it without getting nightmares or whatever, and it really struck me. And as someone who I still haven't seen Seven, but I guessed that Seven was a big influence on it, just from what I know.
In a lot of
Seven.
ways, yeah. It's funny. It makes me think of that. Now when I think of Saw, I always think of it within the context of being part of this big bloated franchise. But when it first came out,
One
it was-
a year until there were 8.
till they
Yeah.
stopped making money. For as long as they made more money than the cost, we'll keep on making them. Which is a business model of a compulsive gambler, or a pimp, or a criminal. It's a criminal way of
Compulsive pimp. He doesn't
he just can't stop. He's just not investing his money wisely. But it was more. Long before I knew it would be the start of a huge, ridiculous franchise. They can't see me roll my eyes because they can't see us. But remember that movie with Colin Farrell's in a phone booth and Kiefer Sutherland's on
It's
the other?
called
It's called
Phone Booth.
It's called This is his own little bottle idea.
Bottle
Like,
episode.
oh,
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It's and look. The more I read about the movie Saw, the more I kind of respected it as like a low budget made. They cut corners in as creative ways as they could, and it was just a big passion project. And Carrey Elwes agreed to be in it based on a short film that they made. And as for the picture itself, it was okay. Has a very unsatisfying sequel hook ending. There were more traps in it than I thought. I thought all the elaborate traps were like from the sequels, but they actually have flashbacks to other victims he's had. And you can see like where they set the tone for what the sequels would have to do to one up.
Now, forgive me. It's been so long since I saw 1, but do you
Saw.
actually meet Jigsaw?
You
the
you
behind the
basically
scenes?
see his face.
Yeah.
The actor,
quite clearly.
I like that actor. He's good at playing that creepy. And I don't even remember seeing him in much before I knew him from that. Do you know his name? I can't remember it because I can clearly picture his face, hear his voice.
Toby something?
He's
No.
he's a character actor that could have probably pulled off Rorschach from
Watchmen.
From Watchmen. Thank
Yeah.
you. Just the guy's got a face,
Yeah.
and that's not always a good thing.
But I was also Danny Glover's in it more than I thought.
Yeah.
Or at least he's spread out in a smart way because apparently they shot all his stuff in 2 days.
I can see that.
Yeah, but he actually, he's got an action scene. He's doing all sorts of stuff in that movie. Yeah, it was fine. It helps that the week before I watched the number 23, which came out around the same time, I think. Actually, no, number 23 came out much later than you think. It came out 2007. I thought it was like 2002 or something, but
Me too.
for those who don't remember, that is the big, Jim Carrey's going to be in a psychological thriller. This is a dark side of Jim Carrey that we've never seen before.
And if you've never seen it before, you can stay that way. That'll be just fine.
Not very good.
I bet you and I are among a lot of people for whom, based on the algorithm of determining what you like and don't like on Netflix, that it's suggested you may like 23. Spoiler alert, we don't. we tried it, we don't. I bet there's a whole lot of people that because 23 got added to Netflix within the last month or so, who went, you know what? I'm already paying $8 something a month for Netflix. I'll take a whack at it. That's exactly why I watched it back in August. I decided, I've already got Netflix. Netflix horror section I've kind of dried out. I'll take a whack at it. And because you know what? Before I just presume, prejudge it's going to be bad, I might as well try. And every assumption, every prejudice I had was correct. It's terrible. It's all the reasons I thought it would be terrible. And even within the film, the characters acknowledge, yeah, this stupid number thing you could apply. Even they acknowledge the premise is hokey multiple times.
I like that about it, actually, that that there really is no magic in the film.
Yeah.
I would like to see that version of the movie that really makes the case that no, there is something going on here. But I can't. It's what's his name directed it? Joel Schumacher. It's a little sad, I think. I can imagine a version of it that's better. A big part of the problem is it revolves around this book that Jim Carrey's reading, and it's kind of a detective novel, and it keeps cutting to inside the book, and Jim Carrey's playing the detective, and it's all very 2000s high contrast.
Sin City,
and it's just very dated, and that's why I was surprised it came out in 2007.
There's no way that I'm the only person. Hell, Neil, you maybe one too. We're sitting in this room recording a podcast. When they first cut to him as like the cool detective with that exactly, did you laugh? Because I laughed. Yeah. They really, and they're not playing it for jokes, but I laughed, and I wasn't supposed to.
I think the closest Jim Carrey ever needs to be to playing a cool detective is Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura had more dignity in this project.
All right, now I'm trying to picture cool detective. Does he have sort of like a trench coat sort of thing?
He's got it's not a cool detective. It's it's a noir detective who's nihilistic.
Not so much he's got slicked back hair. He's always smoking a cigarette. He's often in the rain and like just blasé, like pulling off like the caution tape on a crime scene.
He's having a very sexy affair with this Italian woman.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, it's bad. They did a bad job.
Fun fact about the movie. I'll give you one guess what his multi-million-dollar fee for appearing in the film is. In the number 23.
You did your homework on this one.
He was paid. Hey, Jim Carrey, you could be in the movie. Oh, what do you usually cost? 20? All right, we're gonna give you 23 million. Alrighty then.
I hope he said that.
No, actually,
I can't prove he didn't.
I'd recommend reading the trivia over the trivia page on IMDb over watching the movie, because they really do. They list all the secret 23s hidden in the movie, all the coincidences surrounding the production of the film. And watch the movie. It's really silly.
I just remember the commercials where he was like, this plus that equals 23.
9 divided by 11.
Yeah, it's like 9. Yeah, if you just pick and choose when you're going to multiply and subtract and decide when you're going to split a number
Which
apart,
is the point that they do make in the movie. They have Angelica Houston's brother, Danny Houston plays the skeptical professor in the film. And man, he reminds me so much of Ray Wise. He shows up in Wonder Woman. And
he's in Wonder Woman? I haven't seen it yet.
And I really thought it was Ray Wise, Laura Palmer's dad, when he showed up. And I was like, oh my God, Ray Wise is in this movie. That's great. But
he plays Denethor in Lord of the Rings, right?
Third guy.
Third one. These guys, they should make a club.
I'd love that. I'd watch a movie with the three arched eyebrow men.
It'd be great, like the trailer is they all like, one of them calls the other one on the phone. It's like, oh, you know who we need to tell about this plan? What? One more cross-country trip? Or, I don't know, maybe they're bootleggers or something, which I haven't thought this out.
They'd be three brothers who, their father dies or something. Their father is played by Jack Nicholson or something.
Or John Voight came up. Yeah, we thought it'd be funny if, how they're making a new Tomb Raider film.
Yeah.
That's, more like the new games. What if John Voight was still the dad? It just doesn't make any sense, because it's not actually Angelina Jolie's biological father. Like, what's the point? What if for some weird, like Alfred the Butler is the only thing tying together so many Batman films?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Why not just give Jon Voight, throw him a bone, Mickey Donovan?
Anyway, what have you been watching lately?
Well, we were talking about this before, but that doesn't matter because that's not what y'all are listening to at home.
Didn't happen.
Actually,
We were hanging out all day today, and we kept having to be like, just save it for the podcast.
yeah, we keep doing. I watched a bunch of Adam Ruins Everything. I really like Adam Conover's show. I always loved Mythbusters, but their debunkings were more pragmatic, engineering based. Urban legends and matters of physics. I always like Penn and Teller's bullshit. Nope, I don't mean to say that. I often like Penn and Teller's bullshit, something that we have all discussed. Kevin, who's not here with us, Max, Neil, and I. When they catch lightning in a bottle, man, it's good. And when they drop the ball, they really drop the ball. I could spend a whole hour going over the good ones and the bad ones and the ones that are just, teaching something important. Adam is he cites his sources. He has a whole team of fact checkers. He admits when he's wrong, as he makes mistakes. But they have do these have a strongly left-leaning slant? Yes, absolutely. But, I mean, we're recording this in Somerville. We're practically in Cambridge. Our library doesn't even want Dr. Seuss. Yeah, another thing. Again, I know.
Happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. You got it. But what the one thing I kind of want to talk about, and Max, you kind of clicked that in my memory, was because I didn't want to just talk about Adam Ruins Everything because that's kind of his job. I finally sat down and I watched my brother Sean's copy of the Hideaki Anno Gojira, the 2016 Godzilla, and man, I was impressed. I really liked that. That was cool.
Is that Shin Godzilla? Is it
yes,
that one?
Shin
Yes,
Godzilla.
okay. No, my friends keep trying to get me to watch that one. I've seen clips from it. It looks pretty cool.
It's smart. Yeah. It deals with the post-nuclear Japan in a really meaningful way. It deals with Japanese bureaucracy, which I knew little about. It doesn't so much sit on ceremony per se, but it does what these movies were always supposed to be doing. It is Japanese people within their own country, citing as a satire, a look in the ugly mirror, the dark mirror of what works and what doesn't work within our culture. It is on Americans imposing our own views on Japan, which, by the way, the American influence cannot be overstated. I mean, Japan still can't have a standing army for something since the end of World War II. It's something absurd, like 500 years. Oh. By the time the statute, we're not even close. We're not even at the first 100 yet. It's something. They are in many ways a protectorate within the greater American military. They are part of the United States military. Our ships dock in their harbors. By that I mean our battleships dock in their harbors. And it's more complicated and nuanced than just we own Japan, because we don't. They're a sovereign country. But this, again, it really brings up post-nuclear Japan. It's about nationalism in a post-war country. Nationalism and pride are really tough things to tackle for countries that lose wars. Wouldn't it be weird if you kept flying the flag of your country that lost? Topical.
Yeah, I was like, that would be. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be a bizarre thing for a country to do? Japan had to acknowledge that they lost the war, and losing the war was devastating, and Japan has been a post-war country ever since. So are we. We just had, a huge economic boom in the 50s. But within the context of the film, they bring up that one of the solutions is to nuke Godzilla, because traditional weapons have failed. And they just don't want to go to the nuclear option, even how devastating the creature is. A huge factor comes down to not us, not again. We just can't do it again. Upon hindsight of the project, I have to say the actual Gojira, goes through 3 different iterations from a very strange, almost like a salamander type version, a more aquatic. Yeah. That's awkward and unsustainable on its own 2 legs. And I thought to myself the other day when I was driving that this is like the worst game of Pokemon I've ever seen. This is just the most frightening Pokemon that accidentally digivolves. And And by the way,
Wait, you don't want to digivolve your Pokemon.
I'm gonna throw it out there.
explode.
Digimon season 1, 2, no more season 1. Digimon was a way better show than Pokemon. I'm gonna throw it out there.
I'm turning
comment
off
on
the
that.
microphone.
Digimon was a substantially better show. I'm gonna throw it out there. The whole set with Myotismon and when they came back to Earth, and this isn't helping. For those of you who can't see us, which is all of you listening, Neil didn't watch Digimon. You can see it on his face. Max definitely clicks like, oh fuck yeah, of course it's Myotismon.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay.
So is that it on Shin Godzilla? Because I've seen it. Neil hasn't
Please
seen
keep
it.
going.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the whole evolution thing, I thought that it was really clever that, in the very first Godzilla, 1954, Gojira, he just appears. Like, it just comes out of the water because how else do you get to Japan except by water unless you're flying in? But that's Rodin. That's a whole different movie. And I liked that he, there is this transition from aquatic to this character, to this creature on land, because then it's like, well, why didn't we notice it before? Oh, because it was like this smaller thing, and all that. And then it becomes this very, dangerous, frightening thing that spews blood and just looks horrifying.
Yeah.
And they really managed to bring the fear back to Godzilla, which has been missing. As someone who's seen, I think, most Godzilla movies at this point, it's been missing for quite a while. So.
And this is not an opinion, this is a fact. There are way more bad Godzilla movies than good ones. It's so good to see them breathe a little life into this franchise again and go, wow, that Godzilla film was smart. I honestly thought I'd never get to see that in my life. I thought we'd never get back to that point. That was smart and clever and good. I'd watch it again.
Well, you didn't get the satire of 1998 Godzilla.
Matthew Broderick.
Oh, didn't you notice Mayor Ebert? You weren't picking that up?
Hey, and when his assistant gives him 2 thumbs down.
Oh.
Topical. Hank Azaria. Rest in peace.
Hank's doing fine.
He's good, you guys. God, if he's dead by the time this airs, we gotta cut that.
Have you seen? No, he's in great shape.
Yeah, everybody can die. Yeah, he could just, be in a plane crash.
Yeah, I guess. He seems like the type to fly his own planes.
As always, for those of you at home, Neil's got his phone out. He's checking.
No, I got my phone out because I think it's time to move on to our Let the Games Begin segment. Normally, at least in the past 2 episodes where we've had Kevin, we had a little trivia contest one of us would host. This time, since this is an odd episode where we got Max stinking up the joint, I thought...
Max.
And this is an idea I had half an hour ago. Was I'm just going to go on eBay and I'm going to type in vintage board games. And I'm going to load up a picture of a board game for each of us. And I'm going to show one of us the picture of the board game. And based on the cover, you're just going to have to try and tell the podcasting audience what the rules, or at least the objective of this game is. So guessing how a board game works. That's what this game is. So I'll start with you, Ryan.
All right.
I'm going to load up this game. It's called Extremely Rare Vintage 1969 Ideal Poison Ivy Board Game Complete. I don't have to read it. So...
All right, I'm looking at it. The children either do or do not get poison ivy. They need to, I'm presuming that they need to, it might be something like Twister that you lay out on the ground. Maybe something with steps. You almost do like a hopscotch.
The box makes it look like there's a huge thing that you can touch.
Yeah, this might be a whole thing. There's it's almost like the children's game Lava. Some squares are normal, some squares are lava. Don't step on the lava. And maybe you roll dice to determine if you are going to make it out of the poison ivy. And if there is enough space for you, some musical chairs level fight or flight that you have to push other people into the poison ivy. Maybe there's only a certain amount of poison ivy left and you have to it's sort of an endurance round. You have to wait till winter when it dies out. You're safe by then. You have to wait it out. There's a cartoon squirrel on the cover, and that's I'm gonna guess that it's a wider set. You have to. All
right, I'm gonna show you a picture of inside the box. Okay, it's a little square that fits inside a standard.
It's about 12 inches long.
Yeah, it's It's not a thing that fills the room like the box shows. Okay.
And it's a little green thing that you with holes set in it that you put little plastic poison ivy leaves, which is fucking stupid because then you have to touch poison ivy. The whole game is touching poison ivy. It's like the only thing you're not supposed to do.
I'm guessing there's no real poison ivy included in this.
Yeah,
but all right. Well, there you go. I think you look upset.
For anyone out there who knows, I am particularly sensitive to poison ivy.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to single you out.
It's a hot topic. I don't
All
like
right.
it.
Max, this game is called Personality Game.
All right, so
describe what you see and what you think.
All right, so we got 5 characters on the front here, and you've got a woman who's sort of an older looking woman. She looks like someone who would be offended by Groucho Marx in one of his films, and she is a bit hefty. And she's attempting to do. She has a thought bubble above her. She's attempting to do ballet or gymnastics. And then there's a very nebbish-looking guy, sort of like Jason Alexander, and he's imagining himself skydiving. And then there is this huge dude who looks like both a professor and a football player at the same time, and he's imagining himself as a painter. And then there's a woman who looks like she's going out to the opera, and she's imagining herself hunting a lion. And then there's a guy who looks like Slughorn, and he's imagining himself playing polo on a horse.
All right.
And it's based on the NBC TV show.
What?
And it says, have a ball analyzing players' answers to quote-unquote loaded questions to learn what they are really like.
So what do you think? How do you think you win this game?
Let's see. So I guess it's you have maybe multiple choice questions would you rather go to a fancy party or go camping or go to karaoke, and you have to guess what people have picked for themselves.
What's that Survey Says show? Where you guess if the audience agrees with you or not.
Or what's the one where it's a husband and wife?
Family Feud? No, that's one I was just thinking.
No, but it's where they ask you personal questions and then you have to guess your spouse's answers. What's that game called?
Newlywed Game?
Newlywed Game, probably. Yeah. All right, I'm
Chuck
picking
Barris,
the next.
rest in peace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my man.
So the next one,
Squad.
it's called Monster Squad. It's a green box. It's got Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Wolfman, and they're all wearing cool. They look like title belts, like championship belts. Frankenstein's got his hands on his belt in a really cool way. Looks like the belts have some sort of gems in them or buttons. And behind them, they're in a castle or the parking lot of a castle. There's kind of a van with looks like an ambulance that's been dressed up as a monster type vehicle.
Why is the Wolfman dressed like Robin Hood?
Yeah, I guess
it's a very specific.
It's a medieval Wolfman. It's the old French whatever. All right.
Wait, is this a prequel to Monster Squad in game form?
This looks older. I think it just happens to share a name with the film Monster Squad.
Okay.
Oh, it's from the popular television show.
What?
So let's see. Are there any clues? There's.
It's only for ages 7 to 12, so we're not playing. Once you hit 12, you're done.
So this one does have the objective right on the box. So I've been spoiled here, but it says the object: be first to get your Monster Squad back home. So right from that, I can infer that every player has their own squad. It's probably, I don't know if there's more than 3 monsters or that you divide up, or if there's multiple different wolfmen that each player gets to control. And there's also a home. I'm guessing that's a castle.
So you're not a human trying to escape the monsters. You're the monsters.
Yeah, or you're the monster's manager, I guess. You're the director of the Monster Squad, and let me see if I can.
Oh, there's the board.
Inside. So yeah, it's I figured it's.
Who's that kid?
At the top of the board, there's
it's a guy.
Dopey looking, just a human guy. Yeah,
TV broadcaster.
He looks like one of the Partridges or something, and man, I love the art in this. Frankenstein has slacks on. But yeah, it's your basic. You just like roll the dice and travel a certain number of squares down until you get back to the monster home. Easy enough. Let's do one more round, I guess.
All right.
Let me find a good one here. A lot of these are from 1968, which I guess is a big year for.
So, are you getting these from eBay?
Yeah, this is just the okay. Ryan, tell me, how do you play Mork and Mindy?
How do you not play Mork and Mindy? Yeah, so you're Mork.
Because who wants to be Mindy?
I mean, you're Mork. You're Robin Williams' character from the popular television program of the late 70s. Maybe even to early 80s.
It's one of those.
I want to
spans a little later than you think.
I have to do my research. 1979, Parker Brothers, Mork and Mindy board game. New unpunched pieces. Ooh, so you get to relive your glory days as Mork. And okay, I'm also presuming from the size of the box that it is a tabletop traditional game. I'm going to guess it's a Monopoly type setup. I think it's just you go around the square. I don't think they're that clever. I don't think it's a chutes and ladders scenario. And you can buy property or succeed at things or win at things. You roll dice to see how many steps you go. And you go in and basically each one it's like they're all screenshots from episodes. Remember the one where Mork had to get a job or Mindy had to get Mork out of a job? Or I never watched Mork and Mindy. I don't even know these supporting characters. Who are these people?
Jonathan Winters was on it.
He was. Oh.
It was kind of weird. He played Mork's son, I think. So it was kind of an age reversal. It was kind of disturbing. He was just dressed like a child and talking like a child. He may have been a later season edition or something. I don't know. I never watched it.
I like that better than... remember how in Third Rock from the Sun, how the kid was actually the oldest alien?
Yes, it was a lot like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm looking at I was watching an episode of it recently because I was looking up Paul Rubens for some reason. And
he was on it?
He was pre-Pee-wee, I guess, or after the HBO special, but he was just a struggling comedic actor. He plays a nerd. At a high school reunion that Mindy goes to. And it's Paul Rubens. He's kind of doing the Pee-wee voice. He was also on Murphy Brown in the 90s. I was looking up all these like sitcom appearances of Paul Rubens that I didn't know about.
I'm guessing a lot of it is just as Mindy. I'm guessing a lot of it's Mork and Mindy trivia. Is it like a Trivial Pursuit for Mork and Mindy?
Yeah, there's cards you pull, and it looks like they all have some of the funny words that Mork would say. By the way, for those who don't know, Mork and Mindy was Robin Williams' breakout sitcom role, where he played an alien and he did his Robin Williams goofball stuff.
And was this before or after Popeye?
It was before Popeye, but concurrent to it as well.
But it's certainly like how most people got to know him.
Yeah, like he didn't leave the show, I think, to be in Popeye.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But people loved it. Mork was huge.
Were they in San Francisco? Like, my memories of it are so vague, and I'm picturing stuff right now, like them in their classic TV, the classic TV sitcom living room. People coming through the door without no one ever knocked. They just walked in the door.
I believe it was a spin-off of Happy Days.
No, they exist in the same... Wait,
yeah.
aliens exist within the universe?
If you look up the Tommy Westfall universe... they are linked, and Laverne and Shirley were also a spin-off. But I think the difference is Laverne and Shirley stayed a 60s period piece, whereas when they spun off Mork and Mindy, I think they just kind of like, it's present day now, just forget that it was...
But did the Mork cartoon ever cross over with Laverne and Shirley in the Army, the cartoon?
There was also a Happy Days cartoon, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be the ultimate crossover.
To answer your question, I don't know.
Remind the audience, in case they are not familiar with this, what the extended universe in question that you reference, because this is fascinating.
Tommy Westfall. It's spelt with a PH instead of an F, I think. What was the show? Was it 80s medical?
There was something, it was a hospital drama.
Yeah, was it Saint Elsewhere? Is that the name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, Saint Elsewhere.
Final
episode.
Yeah, the final episode of this show, and I forget if it was a sitcom or a drama or what, but the final episode, they reveal that the entire show took place in the mind of this autistic boy who was playing with a snow globe of a hospital. So they were inferring that like, oh, everything that you just watched on this show was imagined by this little boy. But the problem with that twist ending is the St. Elsewhere had crossovers with a bunch of other shows. So from that, you have to guess like, oh, well, I guess he also imagined those shows. And those shows had crossovers with other sitcoms, and so on and so on and so on. And someone mapped out every single crossover that could possibly be connected to the Tommy Westphall universe. And it's really fun just to see the sheer amount of crossovers that have happened in TV land.
And I cannot think of a thing. I don't watch sitcoms anymore, but I can't think of crossover. That crossovers have gone the way of the laugh track, and they're just such an antiquated kind of they're like clip shows. They're just such a cheap device.
But the thing is, if you look at TV listings, some sitcom that we don't watch is absolutely number one.
I'm sure it's Big Bang Theory.
Well, Big Bang Theory now, but like it's been that way for years where just there's some sitcom that everyone cares about except everyone you know. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, and for those of you out there, if you know what it is, then you ain't talking to us. But yeah, please feel free to leave that in the comments. Why not?
Why not?
I guess
Max,
we'll all learn something.
I'm gonna give you the best one I've seen so far. It's called No Respect.
Oh, and it is of course Rodney Dangerfield's game.
My God.
Yeah, show Ryan the picture actually.
Okay, so
I want to buy that.
exactly what you'd expect.
It's his face. It's his face.
He's making the face you would think. He's like sort of like his face is going one way, he's pulling his tie the other way. And it is a nerve-wracking number stacking game of sudden death. I should note that the graphic of the name of the game actually looks a lot like the Unsolved Mysteries opening title.
Oh yeah, it's got those little horizontal lines.
Yeah, so
well, that's when as soon as I saw that, I figured out the year. Like that's 1985, 1988, something like that.
So let's see, a nerve-wracking number stacking game of sudden death. So I'm guessing like you have to like pull a card or something, and if you don't have respect for someone, you can like take away like their points or something.
Do you think respect is a currency in the game?
Yeah.
I sincerely hope it is.
Well, maybe not a currency. Maybe it's more like a factor. It's sort of like sorry, like who are you gonna screw over in the game and have to say sorry to? Except it's the opposite. Like aren't you gonna say sorry to because you have no respect?
So do you think they just slapped his face on this game?
I don't know what came first, the no respect or the Rodney Dangerfield. Who knows?
Man, I don't know. I want to know the story behind. Hey, what if I had a board game?
I'm guessing.
What year is this from? Does it say?
I get you guess 85 to 88 based on the production design.
Rodney, despite being an older guy, didn't really get respect until the 80s, I think. Post Caddyshack. I think he was on TV a bit, but he kind of had a late start to his career. So this, and just from the design of the box, it looks like it's something from the 80s.
I was watching an old Rodney Dangerfield clip like 2 days ago, like his stand up on like Johnny Carson. It just I don't know why it just happened to be shared on my Facebook feed. It was an odd coincidence. By the way, for everyone at home, I'm going to assume that respect is within the context of the game difficult to obtain. That appears to be Mr. Dangerfield's this is kind of where he feels most comfortable with. The ever fleeting respect.
All right, I'm looking it up real quick just because I'm very curious.
This is worth.
I'm looking up BoardGameGeek.com, which is I've found before, just because I like more than playing them. I like just digging up old board games that no one remembers. Stay alive by playing number tiles on your own columns. So it looks like this is a real game that someone. The only way they could get it made was to reach out to the Dangerfield people, and
I feel compelled to read that for everyone. Here's just the game for you Dangerfield fans. A combination of strategy, suspense, and total frustration to challenge even the most self-respecting player.
Yeah, I don't see the...
This is an afterthought.
Yeah, I don't see... There's no, like, cards you pull and it's got a Rodney joke on it or anything. I don't think you're going to laugh playing this game.
I don't either.
So you have number tiles and...
My guess is that this was a Milton Bradley game that didn't sell well, and then they got a contract with Dangerfield, and then they're like, all right, let's bring this game back.
Like, do we need to take a production photo of you? Like, we'll just use an old one. We don't care. We're gonna slap your face in any piece of garbage, and I just imagine Ronnie Dangerfield like rushing the box home to like play with his family. Like, I finally made it.
Yeah.
This is a big mark of success for him. Because then I thought
he's playing with his son, Matt Dangerfield.
Time for questions.
Time for questions. So normally we take questions from the patrons. This time we forgot to ask that because normally that's something Kevin does, and we weren't sure if we were going to.
Thank you again, Kevin. You were very missed this episode.
Yes, but because this is kind of an oddball episode, we decided, Max, why don't you provide us with questions?
Okay, so I got these questions from 3 different Reddit AMAs.
Okay, you just pulled 3 random AMAs, and you're just going to ask questions that weren't directed towards us.
Right, so the first AMA is, I am actor Michael Malarkey. I play Enzo on The Vampire Diaries. Ask me anything. And first question here, favorite Enzo line?
Enzo.
What's your favorite Enzo line?
My favorite Enzo line. The one who plays the vampire on The Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
I'm going to go with... I'm not going to lie. I cannot get Enzo the Baker out of my head. The first thing I think... Does that reference ring with anyone?
No.
No idea.
Not gonna, okay, never mind.
I'm thinking of Fred the Baker from Dunkin' Donuts. We're getting way off track here. So
I'm going to go with that. Yeah, I'm assuming that Enzo, who may be a baker, but is certainly a vampire...
Does he bake things with blood in them? Like jelly donuts, but the jelly is blood?
And so...
I can't stop thinking of John Lovitz, so I'm going to guess his line is just, time to die. So that's Enzo the
That is
Baker.
a great line that Enzo says. Well, personally, my favorite Enzo line is, looks like you've reached the Enzo.
All right. Would you rather have fingers as long as your legs or legs as long as your fingers?
I'm guessing that's not really a question
Vampire.
specific to him either. But it is a good question. So fingers as long as
legs.
Or legs as long as fingers.
I feel like a good plastic surgeon could fix that shit up, but legs as long as fingers, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
Assuming you couldn't fix it in any way, I think I'd go with the short legs because people can get around with wheelchairs and whatnot, you know? And I guess I could probably still walk around, just I'd be like E.T. kind of. Whereas really long fingers, you just would be stuck with them, right?
Not necessarily.
I'm
assuming we also live in 21st century America in the greater Boston area with competent, capable medical professionals.
Well, I'm assuming a rule of this situation is you can't get it removed or you can't get it fixed. In which that case, I have to live with these fingers.
Yeah, but long fingers are still functional.
I don't think. I think they would be too heavy to move.
Speaking of too heavy to move,
it would be really disturbing, and I think it would be gross.
These are all good segues into. I hope I get some comments on this one on Patreon or whatever. Does anybody else out there, and clearly you guys can't answer, but Max and Neil, MTV used to have MTV Oddities. It were these really strange little cartoons. They kind of look like Beavis and Butthead more than any other animation style I can think of.
Yeah.
And one of them that was really successful was just called The Head.
I remember it. Yeah.
It was a guy with a really big head,
really
long, elongated, almost like a Marge Simpson hair. But that's his head. And it's because an alien landed on Earth and had to live in it but it wasn't played for laughs. It was creepy.
I remember, this is like unlocking weird memories for me because I definitely saw this as a kid.
People thought that he had a physical like aberration or something medical had happened, and so he goes away to a retreat or like a therapy a home for people with physical abnormalities for whom society is shunned. Sort of the episode of The Twilight Zone where you're pretty and normal people are ugly, and so they go to live in where ugly people live, but ugly people are normal people. You all know the episode. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. But the head goes to live with people who have been cast out. They've been called freaks, and they've been ostracized. And Max, is this ringing a bell? Because they used to air these like at the crack of dawn, like Saturday. It would have been a morning cartoon, not necessarily Saturday morning cartoon, and it was clearly for like teenagers, and it was a precursor to like Adult Swim, to weird things like Super Jail.
No, I definitely remember it being something that like I shouldn't have been watching. Kind of.
Yeah.
There's a picture of it if that rings a bell.
Nope, not ringing a bell.
It's basically like a big blimp or like a football. Like it's a ridiculously large cranium.
And it was good too. I remember it being good and yet creepy.
So, next question?
Yes.
Yes, let's move on.
All right, and finally, before we move on to another AMA, Michael, it's your cousin. Not saying which one, but I will say Troy is feeling brisk today. Will you be coming back to the area for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Well, he better. I mean, I better, because I'm Enzo. The character's name is Enzo. The actor's name is Michael.
Yes.
Malarkey.
Michael Malarkey.
Sounds made up.
That's oddly specific. Are you coming over?
Well, what's your answer? Yes or no?
I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna go the unexpected route. I'm gonna go yes. I am going home for Thanksgiving.
But is it an either or? I mean, are you coming home for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Well, the Christmas will depend on how Thanksgiving works out.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I was really hoping that this thread would be a little bit more successful than my immediate family asking about.
I'm sorry, cousin, but I will never return to Troy. I assume this is Troy, Michigan.
I don't know. Troy, the person, could be feeling brisk. Who
That
knows?
could be, yeah. Troy, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be there for Troy. He's going to have to bundle up on his own.
All right, next AMA. We are Antiques Roadshow account executive Hannah Auerbach, joined by expert appraisers Leela Dunbar and Sebastian Clark. Ask us anything. And the first question, hi, I was just wondering, what sticks out to you guys as the coolest thing that's been brought in?
Coolest thing that's been brought in to Antiques Roadshow.
Nazi gold.
Was there?
I'm sure there has been. I wonder if there's legal statutes around.
The thing about Nazi gold is it's not Nazi gold. Coolest thing? Was that the answer? Or just most interesting?
I've already scrolled past it. Either one.
The coolest thing. It was a
Coolest, yeah.
jacket worn by the real Fonz, the actual man that Arthur Fonzarelli was based on, the real Arthur Fonzarelli.
There was a real Arthur Fonzarelli?
According to what I'm saying right now, yes, there was. It's just an ancient leather jacket. The real guy died in prison. And no heirs that we know of, so the jacket's just been floating around from estate sale to estate sale, and now it's here at the Antiques Roadshow, and I have to say it's worth about $500.
All right. Did you want to answer it as well, or you already said Nazi gold, yeah. What do you recommend people do with stuff they don't want, like World War II medals and old turn-of-the-century photos?
Eat them. Eat all of them to consume the ghosts and power of their ancestors.
Does it help to boil like a World War II medal, make it softer? Or?
It does, as a matter of fact.
That's good, yeah. My advice is geocaches. Just hide that stuff. Put it in the geocache database. And people will find it and they'll find a good home for it.
All right. I assume cursing is okay?
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So I have to note that this is from user Fucks with Ducks.
Yes.
And the question is, Do you know any history about rubber ducks before Sesame Street made them popular?
I think
Now, hang on. Is that true?
I don't know.
Did Ernie popularize rubber ducks? Rubber ducky?
He certainly helped them.
I'm gonna give the
That
credit to
could
Little
be.
Richard, not Ernie from Bert and Ernie.
Little
Fucking-
Richard had a rubber duck?
Yeah, he does the Rubber Ducky song.
Oh. Back
He's-
in the day? Like,
Yeah, there's Ernie just robbing another man from his credit. Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
pretty sure Little Richard was on Sesame Street plenty. Like, you can picture it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to think that
Like
he
giving
was,
Kermit a hard time.
that he was just there a lot. We just rarely saw him on screen. He just enjoyed the company of Muppets.
All right, one more before I move on to the third and final AMA. What makes a good episode of Antiques Roadshow an appraisal?
If someone cries, like in a devastated way, not in a happy way, that's usually pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, people come in thinking that they have the most precious thing, literally the most precious thing that their family has had ever for generations. And when you see the light drop out of their eyes of like this is not worth 45 cents. The only thing of value that you have from the old country is trash.
Yeah, you know that scene in Joe Dirt where he finds out his meteor is actually a bunch of frozen poop from an airplane?
It's like that. It's that.
Why, you've never seen Joe Dirt? Anyway, it's like that.
All right, so final AMA, but not final question.
Okay.
I am a horse dentist. AMA. First question. How hard is it to clean teeth with those cumbersome hooves?
Oh, someone thinks they're funny.
Wait, what was that guy's username? I want people to find him.
Okay, if you want to harass them, this is
I didn't say harass, but I kind of implied it.
this is Dwizzes. DWIZZES.
All right.
Capital D, I should mention.
Well,
Go find that person, give him shame for...
You know, Dwizzes, you made me laugh. You brought a little light into my day today, so you're all right. You're all right, Dwizzes.
What was the question again? Is it hard to clean teeth with the hooves?
those cumbersome hooves.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But, you go to dental school for how many years? 7? You'll learn to work around them.
So, this is worded very oddly. Who or can you describe to us your worst patient? Additionally, your worst customer, parentheses, horse owner. Shall I repeat that?
Please.
I think...
Who or can you describe to us your worst patient, comma, additionally, your worst customer, parentheses, horse owner.
I'd like to think that a guy like Jeffrey Tambor has horses, and I feel like he just wouldn't be fun to haggle with. I feel like for some
He takes
reason
it
it
too
would,
seriously.
yeah, whatever you happen to, you're there to help the horse. You're there to take care of the horse.
Oh, especially like after winning Emmys. He's definitely like, yeah, Jeffrey Tambor.
I feel like when it came to a horse's dental health, Jeffrey Tambor is going to be a tough guy to really nail down to a timeline.
I'm gonna disagree. Actually, I think Jeffrey Tambor's hypothetical horses probably don't get dental care at all. I think he's very laissez-faire about that and just figures like, yeah, they're horses, whatever. He's not racing them. I think he just enjoys their company. So, but I think probably the worst horse that I've dealt with was one of the. I was the horse that Pestilence rides, because Pestilence is just constantly spreading germs into that horse's mouth with every single carrot it feeds it, and it's a nightmare in there.
Okay, so I guess I'll make this one the final question. How do you make the horses open their mouth but not bite you?
Oh, we get bit all the time. That comes with the territory. It's actually important. That's actually the way that you officially become a horse dentist when you leave horse dentistry school. It's kind of like David Carradine at the end of Kung Fu when he has to lift the huge pot of boiling water with his wrists and he gets a tattoo marked of the Kung Fu Clan on his wrist. Well, become a true horse dentist, your hand gets bit by a horse, and it's a dental horse, so it leaves a certain mark that it gets imprinted on you, and then you will always have the hands, dental horse hands. Dental horse hands.
Oh, go
Do you have
ahead.
another question?
I have to ask this. I know I said the last one was the final one.
Well,
but-
I didn't answer the last one.
Go for it.
Most horse dentists probably get a few years into their career before they even think to ask. Say and most horses are happy to oblige. They actually know English. Yeah, all of them.
All right, actual last question.
Okay.
'Cause I love how this is worded. Do Irish priests often bring their lovely horses to you?
Yeah, that's actually why I became a horse dentist.
To meet the lovely horses owned by Irish priests?
They're so
Yes.
lovely, and I just wanted to help in any way I could.
Fair enough. Ryan, do
Irish priests
their
bring the
lovely
most lovely horses I've ever seen. Now I'm so glad that finally someone hit the name. What's the name of this commenter?
I have already closed it. It's
That's
gone.
okay.
They're gone forever. Just
Well,
Google that exact phrase
let's-
and you shall know.
Let's just give credit to Dwizzle again while we're at it. And Dwizzle,
Dwizzle.
Twizzes. No
Twizzes.
L.
Dwizzes. Apologies.
Great question.
Dwizzes, yeah. Irish priests do have the loveliest horses. And I'm just happy every time they can be
You
around.
know what? I think that was code. I think a SWAT team's about to bust in. All right. So well, that's it. We basically did a podcast that had all the parts. So I guess next time we'll try and get Kevin back.
Thank God.
No, Max, you did great.
Yeah.
The comments shall tell. I'll know
Yeah,
for
actually,
sure.
yeah. If you listen to this on the Patreon or on YouTube, leave a comment. Tell us, how did Max do?
Yeah, please do. I'm dying to know.
Well, for everyone out there, I'm Ryan.
I'm Neil,
I'm not Kevin.
and this was Guaranteed Audio, a podcast.